Ty Bartel in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we go into the MVAC Scarlet Division on the boys' side with the Western Reserve boys basketball head coach Joe Serensky joining me today. Coach Serensky, how we doing?
Good, Ty. How you doing?
I'm not doing too bad myself. We're chugging along through basketball interviews, and I've been excited to talk about you and this team inside this conference. It looks to be a fun one. You got practices going on right now. Obviously, the football team having some success as well, so that takes away a little bit from it. But what have you seen in practices from your boys?
Yeah, the football team had a good season this year. The guys just kind of here and there getting in the gym this week. Some of them are trying to recuperate a little bit, but it's exciting to get all those faces in the gym in front of me and, get working at what we want to do this year.
You talk about some of the faces that we're seeing in the gym. What are some of the faces we can expect to see on the floor this year for the Western Reserve Blue Devils? I know your roster is not going to be finalized yet, but what are some impact players we can expect to see in sort of a meet the team segment?
So yeah, I got six guys returning that have varsity experience. To start off, Luke Henning. He's returning. He's going to be our dude this year. I look at big things for him, as far as leading, playing on the floor. Another senior is going to be Brock Wellman, Andrew Hendrick, which he is new this year from Latonia, and Tyler Milliken. Those are all my seniors. Junior-wise, I have Dominic Riccardi. He's been a solid player since he's been a freshman. I expect him to take the next step this year and, really take over a big role for us. And then after that, we have some young guys that, right now they're competing. They're competing for spots, and it's pretty exciting.
You talk about the excitement surrounding this team. I mean, it's always exciting when you play in such a tough conference like the MVAC Scarlet Division. I mean, it's always a gauntlet getting through it. What do you expect to see from the conference this year? How do you feel the boys fit inside the conference this season?
I think it's going to be really competitive this year. Lowville lost that three-headed monster that they had there, but they're reloading. Their JV team had a good season. Springfield's always going to be competitive. You got Jackson Mountain, us and Jackson Mountain, it's always a good game. And Mineral Ridge, I think, is going to, step up and play. I think they'll surprise a few people this year. So night in and night out, it's going to be a tough league games for us. But that kind of makes it fun for us.
Takeaways from last season, Coach. I mean, you guys were 8-6 inside the conference. You came in third. There was a lot of games you were in that you did lose in the conference too. How do you get that record a little bit better, considering what you did bring back from last year to this season? What do you think that year of experience does for the boys, and what were your takeaways from last year?
Just doing the little things, getting better at all the little stuff. I think is going to be a big difference this year for us. We did finish third in the league last year. We did lose some close games. So I think that prepares us. These guys had a lot of minutes. It prepares them, to play this competitive season this year. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. I know that.
It's also fun to watch the non-conference schedule that teams are able to put together, because that gives you the opportunity to test yourself in ways that maybe the conference can't always test you season to season. What does the non-conference slate look like for you guys, and what are some interesting games that you're excited to get yourself tested against?
Yeah, I was just talking with the guys yesterday about our schedule. Our first 7 games, 6 of those are on the road. So, to start the season, we're gonna have to come out and play some ball. We start at the Lisbon tournament. We're going to play Lisbon that first night, which they're returning a lot of guys. They had a great season last year. And the other 2 teams are Heartland Christian and Salem. So we'll get one of those 2 the second night. Then we go to Struthers, and then we have Matthews at home. So our first 4 games, we got to be there. We got to be ready to play.
You, of course, want to play to your strengths to get victories. What do you expect the strengths of this year's team to be? Obviously, by the time we're talking end of the season, the strengths might be completely different. But early on, what do we expect the strengths to be for this team?
I expect defensively that's going to be our strong point. Uh, the guys are buying in. They're really focusing in on what we're trying to do defensively. There's a couple small things that we're changing, and they're coming into practice, and they're really getting down to work, which as a coach I love it. You ask anybody that plays basketball or played basketball for me at West Reserve, I'm a defensive coach. If you can't play defense, you're going to have a hard time getting on the floor for me. And these guys know that. And I mean, they're, they're really, taking it to the next level, I think.
When you're bringing back as many guys as you have too that now have that experience, is it more about adding new things for them in the playbook or running the same sets and just refining them to a different level?
Yeah. I mean, we've pretty much offensively kind of keep it the same. Uh, you know, our basic offense is going to stay the same. Set wise, plays are plays. I mean, I can, year to year, I usually try to change some of those up, but our basic principles on offense and that they're gonna, they're gonna stay the same. And now this is the third year with these guys, and I feel like over the summer into this first month, we're starting to see them, start to understand it a little better and execute, at a high level.
Obviously, for you guys to have success, you can't manage everything on your own in a good program. You need help all the way around. So, I want to give you a chance to highlight the staff you're going to bring on this year with the Blue Devils, too, and the guys that are helping you out.
So again, this year I have Coach Paris. He's going to be my JV coach. He's a great guy. He's you know him. He's the Fitch baseball coach.
Great
Uh,
dude. Yep.
yeah, he's really helpful. Jason Cochran, West Reserve guy. You know, he puts time in. He's a great spiritual guy. He likes to pump up the guys. Um, he's kind of be the guy behind the scenes for me this year, doing some scouting, looking at film. He's a big help. A new guy we got this year that's going to help out us. Actually, he's helping me and Coach Miller out with the girls. Is Coach King. Um, he was me and Steve's high school basketball coach when we were in school. He's been coaching since I think he's been coaching since caveman days. It's been a lot of time.
It's been a
I
minute.
mean, so he you know having somebody with that much experience at practices, at games, it's very really valuable to have.
I mean, no doubt you want different kind of mindsets, and always helps to have different eyes on what's going on. You talk about eyes on a product though too, and I mean the Western Reserve crowd is always great, both on the boys and girls side. They love to show up and show out. You want to give them the you talked about the first date. You talked about a lot of dates on the road. Why don't you give them their first home game they can catch you guys to, and give them some reasons why they should watch this year's version of the Blue Devils.
Our first home game is going to be December 9th, when Matthews comes into town. Last year we played him. It was a close game down to the end, dogfight. Uh, you know, all of our games, I don't think we're really going to blow anybody out. All of our games are going to be competitive. You know, we're going to have to grit it out, kind of wins. And that's been West Reserve basketball since I can remember. Defense grinded out kind of games, and it's fun to watch. It's fun for the crowd.
Coach, my final question for you today, it goes to the theme of the questions I'm asking all head coaches this year. It goes back to the love of the game of basketball. It's what got us all started. It's what keeps us all coming back and keep going, no matter our role in the sport. Where did the love of basketball begin for you? Do you have an earliest memory, a pinpoint moment, or a time frame?
Yeah, it started. It started pretty early. my dad used to take me down to the basketball state tournaments like every single year when I was a kid, from the time I was like 12 years old. So, I think that kind of started my love for the game. I always wanted to go back next year. I want to go watch tournament games. So I think it was him, getting me involved and taking me to all those games that really, made me want to coach, especially like after I graduated. He let me help, him coach junior high basketball and kind of groomed me into, being a coach. So I'm gonna give all that to him. He was the one that put that inside me.
Basketball is family. That is no doubt at all, too. And it extends beyond just teams, it's a whole community as
Yep.
well. Coach, we want to thank you so much for the time you give us to get a nice little preview of this Western Reserve basketball team. We wish you the best of luck this season. We're definitely going to be rooting for you here on the network, and I'm sure with any luck, we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Yep. And if I could, I want to do a little shout out to my daughter.
All right,
Uh,
give a shout out.
she had her first game last night down at Bethany. She's a senior this year. I know she was on YSN back when she was at West Reserve, and she killed it last night. 16 points, 4 threes, so she's still throwing them up.
We expected nothing less from her as well. We're wishing her the continued success as well down in Bethany. We wish you and your team the best of success this year as well, Coach. This has been a first edition of Coach's Corner this season with the head skipper over at Western Reserve, their boys basketball coach, Joe Serensky.
Thanks.